This is the American Indians, indigenous peoples' truths. Justice for all, the most dangerous show on media anywhere. OCO, Taishu, Shadana Lai. I'm Jay Winter Nightwolf, and this is Jay Winter Nightwolf Live. We have some very interesting guests tonight, and we'll get to them in just a moment. But before we do that, my good friend and brother, Clyde Bellecourt, who was one of the original founders of AIM, the American Indian Movement, took his walk into ancestry yesterday. Clyde was 85 years old, and he died from cancer. So I would hope that all of you would be praying for him and his wife that he leaves behind. We'll be back in just a minute. Good evening, Leslie. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and everybody out there as well. Leslie, would you do us the honor of doing the land acknowledgement?
It would be my pleasure. So let's pause a moment to acknowledge the traditional stewards of this land that we reside on, especially their ancestors, descendants, and all indigenous people who live now and have ever lived on this land we call Turtle Island.
I would like to offer up a prayer tonight. A prayer for all of us as members of the human family. My heart is heavy tonight because I lost one of my very, very dear friends, Clyde Bellecourt. But yesterday, we also lost my adopted nephew's mom from COVID-19. So let me say a prayer for Clyde and his wife and all the members of AIM and the entire Native American community, as well as my nephew, Ian Simpson, and his family. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glit on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you wake in the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the soft starlight at night. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Clyde Bellecourt was one of the most famous Native Americans that ever lived. He was a leader for Native American civil rights struggles, and he was 85 when he died. What do I know about Clyde? Clyde was a warrior without fear. Clyde, one of his best friends, is also one of my best friends, a Black man by the name of Spike Moss, who has been a Black freedom fighter all of his life. He met Clyde in 1966. And when the Black community was under attack, Clyde brought his warriors from AIM with him to help Spike. And whenever our Native people up there in Minnesota had problems and were under attack by the police, Clyde showed up with his people. The direct connection between Blacks and Indians go much further back than that, almost 600 years, when the European invaders invaded us here in the Western Hemisphere. And 500 years ago, when Christopher Columbus, AKA Cristobal Colombo, got lost at sea and found his way to the Caribbean islands. That voyage that he made here back in 1492 opened the doors to tyranny, opened the doors to enslavement of Black people, our brothers and sisters from Africa, and all kinds of evil stuff as a result of him coming here. So Clyde, I will say to you, I know you can hear me, brother. I wish for you to have a very safe journey as you walk across the Milky Way to be with the Great Spirit. Thank you, Clyde, for being my brother and being my friend. That's Clyde Bellecourt.
Elder, it was a beautiful prayer. He was, we're losing so many of our elders who fought for our freedom. And what's so sad about it is that nobody knows this history. Nobody knows these people. And we really need to connect with that heritage, those things about us that we don't have any knowledge of. We need to reconnect to that. I did not know Clyde. I mean, I only know AIM from the perspective of Russell Means, but to actually hear you talk about what kind of a man he was and a freedom fighter he was and how he stood up for every community that was underserved, he seemed like a beautiful person. And, I'm proud to say that I know you and you knew someone who was a warrior for the people.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm honored. Thank you so much. So let's get to the business at hand tonight. We are talking about AIS, the American Indian Society of Washington, D.C. So can we bring the guest in?
Yes, we can.
Okay. That looks like Michael. That looks like Michael Nephew. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So let me just go down the list. Elise Hall. Elise is the current president of the American Indian Society of Washington, D.C. I have so many good things to say about Elise, but I also have good things to say about the American Indian Society. I've been a member for quite a few years. It is the only American Indian organization that whenever a president of the United States is elected, that's favorable towards Native people, Black people, Asian people, and even some of our white brothers and sisters. Whenever a president that is a good president is elected, AIS throws an inaugural ball for that president. And I was so fortunate to participate in that ball for Barack Obama. Why do I love my country? Because Barack Obama is the very first president in the entire history of this country that brought our Native leaders together every year for the White House Tribal Summit. And anybody that considers themselves to be one that want to help people, especially the most deprived people in the history of this country, the Native American or American Indian people, I have to support that. And when he walked in with Michelle on his arm, the place went crazy. So thank you to my brothers and sisters at AIS for giving this honor to Barack Obama. I'll tell you a short story. When he was running for president the first time, I went to South Dakota and worked with the Get Out the Vote campaign for Barack Obama. So enough of me. Elise, how are you tonight, sis?
I'm well. Thank you for asking, Brother Jay. I appreciate it. And it's an honor to be here tonight. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Would you like to fill us in on some of the history of the American Indian Society?
I'd be honored to. I can tell you what I know and what I've experienced. As a child, I heard about the American Indian Society. I left home and I was told while I was in Japan that once you get back to the States, you need to look up this society. They're doing great things. I was fortunate enough to run into Karen Collins in DC area, and that was the beginning of our relationship. They they embrace intertribal, they embrace all those who are willing to come and learn, and it is a teaching society, very positive. Regardless of the struggles and ups and downs, they stay united. And that's something that I appreciate. The teaching and the sharing and the pushing one another to our own excellence.
Absolutely. And you're from the Lenape people.
I am from the Lenape Nation, and I'm the granddaughter of Mary Evangeline, who is, yeah, she's Susquehanna, Shawnee, all of Pennsylvania.
Very good.
She's one of Tecumseh's, we say Tecumseh, one of
Yeah.
those, that side of the family. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to my friend for a long time and a longtime member of the American Indian Society. He's the first vice president now. Michael Nephew, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you, Jay.
You too. Tell us your nation.
I am Eastern Band Cherokee, and I'm also of Seneca and Cayuga descent.
Okay. Michael, what can you say about AIS, this great organization, and your involvement?
AIS, they provided, talking to Mitchell and Vern and some of the other elders who started AIS, they wanted to create a home away from home for people. That was their purpose with creating AIS, getting together, because we're a communal people. So they wanted to have things that people could get together and do things. And originally it was more of a club than anything else, just an opportunity to get together. And some of the old time members used to refer to it as the club. And then as they started getting older and having kids of their own, then they started doing more things like, having dance classes and craft classes and Halloween parties where people get, just things to get the community to get together and share in each other's fellowship. That was really what AIS was all about. And sharing our culture with each other as well as sharing it with the rest of the world.
Absolutely. And now we have the new member who we have all taken under our wings, Parker Anderson. He's from the Lumbee people in North Carolina. Parker, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here. I am a young, newer member of the American Indian Society, and I just found them when I was looking for a community of Native teachers on the internet, and I haven't looked back since. And what Elise was saying about the organization being a teaching organization, that has absolutely been true. And I'm indebted to Elder Nephew and Elise and Sheila as well, who just joined, for their teaching and their and just the open arms that they've greeted me with as I try to reconnect with my heritage and do some good work for the community.
You're very welcome with us, Parker, and I know I can get an amen from everybody on that one. Now, here's my other sister, Sheila Hanson, from the Shawnee people. Sheila, how are you? I can't hear you.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah,
can't hear me?
you're unmuted. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
So how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Getting ready here at the farm for another snowstorm, it seems. So things are a little busy.
Yeah. So tell us about your involvement with AIS. How long have you been a part of it?
Oh my goodness. In and out really involvement. And I was thinking back, back maybe 40 years ago when they would meet at the Capitol building in a little room for coffee on Saturday morning. Wasn't too bad because you could actually find a parking place. You could actually drive down to DC. So I've been in and out involvement, but always my heart and my soul has been with them. I know what Mitchell was trying to bring the people together, and he certainly was bigger than life to me because he gave me the strength I needed to stand up and go forward and do the things that I felt in my heart that I needed to do.
Mitchell Bush was one great human being. Mitchell didn't see anybody's color. All he saw was their heart and their feelings. And for that, I am so thankful to have known him. Let me name a couple of other people. Karen Collins, a wonderful woman. She just transitioned last year, and we were all there for that. I mean, she had a heart of gold, and everybody was her kid, you know. And then we had the woman that adopted me immediately when she saw me, Dr. Mercedes Osborne. She was a Cherokee from Oklahoma. Those of you that think you knew her, I'll tell you something about her. Dr. Mercedes Osborne had 3 PhDs. And I said, "You got 3 PhDs?" She said, "Yeah, which one of them do you want me to hit you with?" But she was an amazing woman. She was a dancer. I mean, she was just all of that and a bowl of grits. Everybody agree?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Michael, you knew her. Can you say something about Mercedes and Karen and Mitchell?
Yeah, Mercedes was just like a very open, warm-hearted person. You know, when she took you into her circle, you know, you knew you were part of that circle. You know, if you showed up at the house, you ate. There was no question about it. She didn't care if you had just eaten. You ate.
Oh, you ate.
She sat you down and fed you. You know, you could have just come from a meal and she sat you down and fed you. She just like, if you were in her circle, you knew it, you know, and the house was open to you to come at any time. You know, she was just very good-hearted person and just really hosted a number of our non-monthly meetings. You know, when we had other different events that we had to meet for, she would host them there. Just, I mean, that was always food. I mean, of course, that's true with any of the AIS functions because people would always bring food. But yeah, that was just a very loving person. Just
yes. And all of you people out there, all of our Native brothers and sisters out there that are looking for a home, your home in Washington, in the Washington metropolitan area, is AIS, the American Indian Society. So find your way to our doors, go online and look it up, AIS, and become a part of what we do. We're not a social club, but we do a lot more than that. But we will bring us together. When there's an issue on Capitol Hill about Native people, we are involved. When there's an issue with the Department of Interior, oh, some of these members of AIM can rain hell down on you if you're doing something to hurt us. Sheila, I'm going to let you have the floor for a minute, and then we're going to go to Parker.
I'm trying to get these buttons figured out here on the computer.
That's all right. We can hear you. We can hear you.
You know, on the East Coast, we've got a sad history of being pretty much sociocide, genocide, written out of existence. And so often in my travels, and people come to me and they say, "We know we're Indian, but we can't prove it." Well, this organization is an umbrella for you. Come to this organization and learn about the traditions and We've got all kinds of plans to do this year. Hopefully, if COVID will behave itself, we can actually get to do something. You know, my pantry is still full of Halloween candy because it got canceled because of weather. But we have lots of good plans. We have lots of good teachers. The leadership that we have now is strong. Our membership is growing and new members coming in, and they're really involved, and they want to step up and take over, and we're happy to see that. We need some new thoughts and new planning, and it's a new day. It's 2022, and we're ready to go forward. If you feel like you've been isolated from your heritage and your traditions, AIS is the place to be, and come and join us, please.
You are so right. You are so right. We're going to go to Allie next, and then we all need to do a formal welcoming of Parker after Allie speaks. Go ahead, Allie.
I have to agree with
Ali?
Sheila. We are teachers. We welcome people. We're not going to be the ones that are going to try and pick you apart. We're here to help build you up and help you to find your way. And believe it or not, every day I also learn something. We are all in the learning position, and that's what we're trying to reach out to others. Come as you are, and we're going to help you out, and you will discover so much about yourselves. So I definitely agree with Sheila there.
And we are going to now welcome. Where did Michael go?
I'm here.
Oh, he's there. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to formally welcome Parker Anderson. And Parker, you're on your way to law school, right? What are you going to study in law school?
I mean, you can concentrate in something, but generally you just go to law school. But I'm hoping to use my law degree to work for Indian country, and so I'm really interested in taking coursework that's going to prepare me the best for that. Introduction courses into federal Indian law and the unique legal challenges, particularly jurisdictional challenges with criminal cases between Indian country and the federal government and state government that contribute to all these problems that Indian country has, particularly with missing and murdered Indigenous women. That is born out of poorly designed federal policy and the jurisdictional issues out of that. So generally in law school, just setting myself up for a career serving Indian country.
Absolutely. There are quite a few Native lawyers and other lawyers that practice Indian law in Washington, D.C., and I'm very familiar and acquainted with most of them. So when your phone starts ringing from people you don't know, you tell them that Uncle Jay Nightwolf sent them to you. Okay. All right. So let's all, give Parker a welcome into our family. So Parker, I'm going to lead it off. I'm honored that you're here. We need your young voice, your strength to help us continue with what we do every day of our lives. But this is something that I want to instill in you. The 4 directions, the red, the black, the white, and the yellow. Those are the 4 colors of the human family. Never forget that we're not in this boat alone, but there are other members of the human family that are in this boat with you. So that's I welcome you, brother. You want to be the next one, Sheila, to welcome him?
I like to say, Parker, that it's an honor to have walked with you these past few months. You've really shown me your humility, your willingness to help out no matter what we've asked you to do. Indigenous Day down in DC. You were incredible, really a big help. You are what we're praying for. As elders sitting here, you're what we're praying for. You're the answer to our prayers. And I know you're not going to let us down, and we're not going to let you let us down. But so honored to walk this road with you, and looking forward to the future and the things that we're going to get into. And I hope that if you come to a point that you feel that you need some help, reach out to us. We're here. We're here for you, and we're here to help in any way. And so glad you're studying the law. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, and it's very frustrating. But we're with you 100%. Thank you so much for being a part of us.
Okay. Uncle Michael, you're next.
It's really great to have you as part of AIS, Parker. It's just like recently there's not been a lot of youth or young people involved. You know, when I started getting involved with AIS, I was a little older than you are, but there were a lot of youth at that point involved with AIS. So it's really good to see that, you know, your willingness to jump in. And you know, like Jay was saying, there's a lot of Native lawyers in this area, and you know, there's the Native American Bar Association, you know, other groups that you can get in touch with to further that career. And when I first came into town, there was a Lumbee lawyer named Jojo Hunt, who was very well known in the Native community here. So, and yeah, you know, like both Jay and Sheila were saying, you know, we want to see you succeed, and that's our new goal.
Exactly.
Not just you in general as youth, but you specifically. We want to see you succeed, and we're here to help you. And if you need help, just reach out to us. We're here for you.
We got your back. And Elise, what do you have to say to Parker, this young man?
Well, first, I want to just thank you for trusting us. And I really appreciate your humble spirit. You have a humble spirit, but I also recognize leadership and strength in you. And I appreciate when I've reached out to you, you've never let me down. I'm going into the school and I look over and you're right there with me. And you don't know, that day I felt so complete because it was usually Karen and I. So what you did that day, that just, that really set my heart on fire. But when I look at you, I look at the way you walk, the way you present yourself, the way you talk. And what I see is you are a strong vessel and you're a magnet. And I really believe within my heart that you're going to attract other young people. And when we leave this part of the plane, when we're no longer on the loop with you, I feel confident that AIS will continue.
I do too. And Parker, let me tell you something. If anybody would know it could or detect leadership, Elise can do it. She spent 20 years in the United States Air Force. Any woman that spends that much time in the military, you got to take your hat off and you got to listen. So Parker, welcome to the club, bro. Okay, so now that you've been done, it's time for you to tell us what you want to tell us. What's on your heart, young brother?
Thank you. Thank you all. I was not expecting all of that, but it's touched my heart. I'm trying not to get too emotional about it, but it feels really good to hear that from all of you. And I mean, I want to say thank you to each of you as well for everything that you're saying, that you're invested in me and all that. It feels great to know that. So I don't know, just thank you. For me, it's also really special to hear that from each of you, because I struggled for a long time with whether or not I should reach out to the Native community or AIS. I grew up with that old, adage or thing that a lot of people would say where, I know I have Indian ancestry, but I don't know anything about it. I can't prove it, things like that. And that's where the conversation started, and that's where the conversation ended for a long time. I couldn't even tell you my tribe until not even a year ago that I knew for certain, where my ancestry was. And for some reason, during COVID, I guess, what sparked that final jump to get into it. But I always felt like it was something worth preserving and knowing more about. So I spoke with my mom, who passes the ancestry on to me, about some of the, archival document ancestry, the archaic ancestry or research, as we would say, not the 23andMe DNA stuff, but like the real deal, and seeing the census records marking the family on my mother's side is Indian. The military records from my family, one of my ancestors who was drafted but then rejected for a health issue, marked Indian on there. He's like 5'5" and like 90 pounds or 100 pounds. Something was, sticks out. That's why that one sticks out, or the school records from the Indian school that my grandfather went to in Robeson County, North Carolina, one of the Lumbee Indian schools. All that there is proof for me. But the fear I had was, I had a really limited idea in my head of what an Indian looked like, or what, if I were an Indian, what I should look like. And that comes from, growing up in Virginia, where the Washington football team's logo is everywhere. And that kind of sets the expectation, and going to a public school where the only lessons we get on Native Americans is the Thanksgiving story and all colonial pre-American Revolution history. And so my perspective on Native heritage has always been something that's been stuck in the past, something that is opposed and exclusive from contemporary life or modern life today. Like, I can't be who I am and be Native. Those are two different things. I can't be, a guy from rural Virginia or someone who lives in Washington, D.C. now, and be Native. And realizing, eventually, obviously that was a mistake, but that's what held me back, was no one's going to believe me when I say I'm Indian. I can't prove it to other people, right? I'm not going to carry around my grandfather's school records, right? Some heritage that wasn't preserved in a way that I could show to other people, right? And eventually what I realized was, like, if I have Indian ancestry, then this is what an Indian looks like, right? And that the Washington football team's logo was not the definitive, image for the people. And just the fact that, like, Native Americans aren't just like one racial category, right? There's plenty of ethnic diversity in the community. And so finally, and there were times where sometimes I might share with someone, like I had an internship in Virginia state government, and the person in charge of my program worked with the Virginia Indian tribes, which I think is like the Pamunkey and that group of 6 tribes that all got federal recognition in the last couple of years. He'd been working with them on that, and he was going to powwows and inviting all the interns to that. And I had said to him, I'm Native, and he's like, oh, well, you got to come. You got to come to this thing. And I was like, oh no, I can't. That's not for me. Like, I look too white, or like, I can't do that. And he always kind of gave me a funny look, but I always felt like this is not my space. This is not my struggle to claim. And of course, like, there are dimensions to that. But for me, like, what I realized, or what I've had to learn and have been so relieved to know, was that all I had to do was inquire. All I had to do was show up at an AIS meeting. And the only people who never cared what my blood quantum was, how Native I looked, if I was enrolled or not, or what I knew, what languages I spoke. Like, nobody at AIS asked me that. Nobody cared. They were just happy to see me there and were ready to teach me. And that's exactly what it's about, right? That anxiety about whether I pass.
Yeah. Parker, let me tell you something. You come from a very strong people. Did you know over 30 years ago, it was the men of the Lumbee Nations in North Carolina that chased the Ku Klux Klan out of North Carolina? Did you know that?
Yeah, it's the Battle of Hayes Pond.
Yeah. So you come from a warrior society. To be a warrior is great, but be the educated warrior that can reason and make the difference for your people. And as I said earlier, don't forget that there are three other people too: the black, the white, the red, which is us, and the yellow, our Asian brothers and sisters. That's the whole human family. And don't let anybody tell you anything else.
Can I can
Yeah,
I can I step in a
yeah,
little bit?
absolutely. I know you got a question, but
Oh, absolutely,
let,
absolutely. Well,
can
first
I
of
just
all,
can
go
I just
ahead.
finish with him real quick?
Sure, go
So
ahead.
Parker, I'm an older guy, but you see this shoulder and this shoulder, you can always lean on these shoulders. Okay. Leslie, who is our executive producer of Winter Nightwolf Live, I'm going to get up for a minute and I'm going to set my chief engineer in the chair so you all can meet him. He's Cherokee and Sicilian. So I'm going to set him in the chair. Leslie, go ahead and say what you got to say. Take your time and say it because I'm getting ready to crown this brother.
So
Yeah.
while he's making that switch, I just wanted to say, Parker, you're an inspiration. You spoke something that is very dear to my heart and the struggle that I also have. And definitely with the help of Sandra Hope, I met Allie, and Allie was helping me reconnect with my people. In the same token, I am somebody of Choctaw heritage, but we were people who had to forget our heritage in order for us to mend and blend into the Black community and in order for us to keep our land. And so there are so many of us that have this story of being disconnected and not being able to um, embrace that part of ourselves. We're all living experiences. And so there are a lot of us who are of Native American heritage who are living a Black experience and have been claimed as Black throughout all our heritage, but we are fully and can claim that we are of Native American and Indigenous heritage. One of the things that I am really interested in is about membership for AIS and for people who are reconnecting with their heritage and finding their people. It's interesting that once I started this journey, I cannot stop thinking about my Indigenous heritage. It consumes my day. Now I'm learning my grandmother's tongue. I'm learning Choctaw right now. I'm doing everything that is embracing a woman that we were supposed to forget. And so for us who are out there, and I'm posing this question to the panel, how do we, one, become a member of AIM because it is AIS because it is in DC, and two, keep that connectivity in finding our people, because so many people will tell you, oh, you're just Black, or oh, you're just white. We know the concept of race itself is something that is very new, but we were once a nation of people. And for those of us who want to connect with that heritage, what is your advice?
Well, first of all, anytime anyone puts the word just in front of anything, they have already denoted or made it mediocre. So we'll take that completely out of your vocabulary. Okay. To become a member of AIS, you go online. We have people who are not right here in Virginia, and we have people who are not in Northern Virginia. We have people from Pennsylvania, New York, Florida, all the way out to California. And since we're meeting on Zoom right now because of our situation, it's not hard to be a member. The only thing that I believe, and Michael and Sheila will back me up on this, when you become a member, we want you to be fully ensconced in the membership, to know that we're looking for your energy and your input, that spirit, as far as continuing to connect with the Choctaw Nation, because the Choctaw from all the way Oklahoma down to Georgia, Mississippi, and everything, we begin to travel and reach out. And we're going to help you do that. And in doing that, we discover things about ourselves in the power and in the principles associated with unifying the tribes. And you'll find that you have so much more in common than you have that's different. So I'll turn that over to Michael and Sheila.
So one of the things is that AIS has never had a requirement that you be Native or even be able to prove Native to be a member. One of our past vice presidents was not Native, and never even had no Native blood whatsoever, or any not even stories of his family of being Native, but he was just concerned with the Native population, and he was one of our vice presidents and worked right along with us. So that that's one of the things to remember, is that AIS is not just for Natives; it's for people who want to support Natives too. So you don't have to have a card saying you're Native to be a part of AIS. You come in, you work, and you show us who you are, and we want people who are there to work and promote the goals of the organization, and work toward the betterment of Native people. That's what our it's not even a requirement, but that's what we like to see in the people that join.
Sheila, your thoughts?
Sorry, I had to find the right button. I fully agree with what Michael said, and our requirement is for you to have a good, open heart. And we're going to help you in every way to try to connect. And it's a lifelong journey. So much of our past has been taken away, and we've been shamed for it. And so it's a good day to stand up and find your voice, and we're going to help you through this. Hopefully we can find more Choctaw people that you can learn from. And so welcome to AIS, and we're honored to have you.
I know that one of the things that you all do is you all take a yearly excursion to the school in Carlisle. Last year you were able to do that. Can you tell us about that journey, Elise, and why you all, how long you all have been going there?
Michael will probably have to confirm the time, how long AIS has been going there. But we go up once a year. We meet with Circle Legacy Center. The president is Marianne Robbins. And the purpose is to honor the children that were laid to rest there, or at least their remains. There's a big history. There's a long history, a bit convoluted sometimes, concerning the Indian school. But that is our main thing, is to keep that alive and to pay tribute and acknowledgement to these children. There's been several times, there's been some repatriation, but we'll tell you about that as you get more involved. And who's welcome? Everyone is welcome to come there. I'll let Michael tell you more about that.
Yeah, this next May will be 50 years for it's Memorial Day weekend. We always go up on the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and this coming May it'll be 50 years that we've been going to Carlisle. We started grave decorations with Arlington National Cemetery in 1970, but it was like 2 years later that they first went to Carlisle. And so, it's been a long time, and we get together, we go up, originally they started putting live flowers on. They would be putting real flowers on there, and then we decided that at some point we decided that if we put artificial flowers on, they'll stay longer. They won't be cleaned off quite as quickly. So we go up there, and other groups have started joining us, like Circle Legacy and Native American Lifelines. And that picture you see, that's Mitchell Bush. He was one of the ones that got us going up to Carlisle. Him and Grace Thorpe, who happens to be Jim Thorpe's daughter. She was a member of AIS. Mitchell and Grace were the reason that we ended up going to Carlisle. They were up there, and they asked about it. because they knew that some of the kids hadn't made it back. And, it's like Ali was saying, there's been some repatriation lately of some of the children back to their home. PBS has been occasionally running a session of Independent Lens on the children of Carlisle. And
Yeah.
it just showed the other night. Yeah. Too bad we weren't doing this last week. We could have plugged it for them. But it's a really good show. You can, if you have their streaming app, you can go out and watch it. It's well done. It talks a lot about it. And what's really interesting is that they made sure that when they came, that children came with them. It was important for them to have the children's aspect of it. Not just the parents and the grandparents coming to get the kids, but the kids that would be, the age of those students, or maybe a little older, because some of the students were pretty young. And to hear those kids talk about it, it's just really a powerful thing. And, I'm glad we're able to do that. I'm glad for those that have chosen to get their children back. And, I'd love to see a day where we don't have to go up there and do that, but I don't think that'll ever happen because some of those graves are unknown. They got lost because where the cemetery is now is not where it originally was. And in that process, some of those became unknown graves, or maybe they were unknown before that, but it was moved in 1927, and that's a whole nother story in and of itself.
And I'm quite sure they didn't take the time and the care to make sure that was taken care of in 1927, given the disregard.
Because in fact, with one of the repatriations, they found out that who was in there wasn't who they thought it was, and it was in fact the remains of 3 different people. But they were able to, actually locate the grave of that person, the proper grave, because the headstones had been switched for some reason, somehow. But they were able to actually get the correct child and move him back.
I want to interject something here, if you all don't mind. The gentleman he's a gentleman that was just sitting in my place. He's my chief engineer. His name is Ramon Grimaldi, and Ramon is half Cherokee and half Sicilian. But I look at him as being my brother. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody got a chance to see the man behind this. Leslie, there's so much to talk about, and we don't have enough time to get into it. But before we go, I would like to invite all of you back again for another episode of this in the coming weeks. Will you all come back?
No problem.
Okay.
I'm here to support you. And I would just like to say the support you've given AIS over all these years has been really fantastic, and I'm really proud to call you my brother. You've helped AIS so much. You've had us on interviews on different other platforms. Just a real staunch supporter of AIS for a very long time.
Well, Michael, I love you, man. You're my bro, like I love everybody else. But I got to tell you something. I got to tell all of you something. Being on this television show was not a fluke. It was not by happenstance. Leslie Fry, who I have adopted as my sister, called me. She said, "I've been looking for you for a long time, Elder." I said, "Really? Why? What did I do?" She said, "You didn't do anything." And she said, "I work for AT&T, and I have been wanting to do what was it, Leslie? A panel discussion."
We call them tribal talks, yes.
Right. On the intersectionality between Blacks and Indians. And that's how I got to be on this television show. I guess when you do good things and try to help people, good things come to you. And this television show is really a blessing to me, even at 75. And I plan to be around for quite a long time. So you're all going to get tired of me, but that's okay. It's all about love. And Leslie, I never really had a chance to thank you, but I'm going to thank you now. Thank you for coming into my life. You and your husband, Sean. It's really been a blessing, and it continues to be a blessing.
Same here.
Thank you. And just like Sheila, I think the first time I met Sheila was at her dinner table. That lady can cook. And Allie, that's my sister, a sister from another mother. And now Parker is our nephew. He's our nephew, ours, you know. And anybody else try to claim him, they got to come through us, okay? So anyway, thank you all so much for being here with us tonight, because we could not have done this without you. So let me go around the table. What were you saying, Sheila? Sheila?
I just wanted to say that very recently we lost another founding member of American Indian Movement, Clyde Belcourt, walked on. So
Yes.
those old guys, you know, are getting less and less. They're legends. They're definitely legends in the Indian world, but warriors. And so we lost Billy Tyak earlier. And so
in about 10 minutes, all of the members of the American Indian Society are going to have to leave and go to our meeting, the first meeting of the year. But before you go, Elise, give us your closing thoughts, or what, you know, anything you want to talk about.
What I want to say is, thank you, Creator, for just allowing us to come together with a like mind. And just listening to all of you speak this evening, it personifies unity and purpose. And I see us going places and reaching dreams and pushing forward. Quit frowning, Jay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just see bigger and greater things. And the one thing about this COVID, it has taught us not just to be humble, but to be purposeful. So I thank you for allowing us. Much peace to you too, Leslie. Sandy is going to help you, reach out to you about joining. And I'm going to get off because I have to set up this Zoom. And my IT skills, as Michael will tell you, are not very good. Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good
you,
night.
Elise. Thank you,
That's
Ali.
okay. All righty. So next is Michael Nephew. Your closing thoughts.
You know, I think this year has been starting out really great. You know, this is, I love that you have the show, that you showcased AIS not only on this show but on your radio show, and you know, I just like, and Parker's involvement, getting involved in the end of last year and now into this year, it just like really gives me hope. And you know, I see a bright future for AIS with involvement like that, and with Leslie wanting to join in too. You know, it just, I got a good heart today because of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a great start to the year to have AIS promoted like that, and knowing that we can start working on things and get things going again. You know, because I remember when, you know, some of the things that AIS do, those are the place to be, and I can see it going back that way.
Michael, you know we love you, and thank you for being on with us tonight. And I look forward to see your face again soon.
Yeah, in a couple of minutes when you get to the AIS meeting.
Okay. Sheila.
I'm going to head over to the AIS meeting.
See
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Thank you, Leslie.
Sheila Hanson. I don't know whether to call you my sister or big aunt or what, but as long as you continue to cook like you cook. I know that. I know that Dennis Banks and Clyde Bellacourt and those guys were close to you as well. And Dennis was very close to me too. So thank you for everything that you do, Sheila. Is there any closing words that you would like to leave with us tonight?
Golly, probably a lot of thoughts going through my mind, and everybody just stay strong, keep moving forward. Look back and cherish all those memories. You know, we've got good memories, Jay. We really do, and I think about them and cherish them, and miss people who have walked on, even though I know that they're still with us in spirit world. We've got a strong circle up there now, that's for sure. So keep going forward, everybody, and I'm going to sign off and hop on over and see what before they nominate me for something else to do. So, thank you so much for having us, and look forward to to your next one. And thank you so much, Jay, for all your support that you have given us, and all the things that we have been through, and along the path. You know, it hasn't been a easy one, but it's been a good one, a really good one, and we'll continue down that.
You know, the good thing about it all, Sheila, is that we are all on a good red road together. That makes a big difference. So when you get off, you email me how I can get on the AIS meeting.
Okay, sure.
All right.
It will do.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yes, thank
you, Sheila. Thank you.
Love you,
Thank
Sheila.
you so much.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the newest member, the handsome guy. You know, I used to be handsome just like you. This is what happens when you get older.
Yeah. He wanted you to start. Yeah, he does want to sell short. He's a very handsome man.
So, Parker, your closing thoughts.
Just thank you so much for putting AIS in the spotlight on your show, Jay. Very appreciative of that. And I'm honored to be here, and I'm so grateful for the kind words you all shared. And Les, thank you too for all your support in getting everything set up for us. You know, there's not much else to say from me except anybody who feels similar and wants to make a connection. AIS is here, and they're open. In my experience is a testament to the family, the love, and the teaching that AIS provides to anybody who's interested. You can find that in AIS. So don't hesitate. Don't make the mistake I did. I'm just kicking myself that I took this long to finally take the jump, worried that there was going to be some kind of gatekeeping. You know, but I always had to learn that was a problem with me, because the community is fantastic. And I'm looking forward to a great year with AIS. And just thank you so much again for putting AIS in the spotlight tonight.
You got it,
pal. Being here. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for being with us, Parker.
Thank you.
Okay, Leslie.
I just wanted to say closing thoughts that next week we will be having our fireside chat. And I noticed that Virgo Bliss actually put a comment on here, but come back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we will be able to answer any questions that you have. And hopefully we can answer your question that you have for this evening.
Leslie, it's always an honor to work with you. Look at that smile. Ain't she pretty, y'all?
Same for you too. Oh, thank you. What are you trying to butter me up for? There must be something in there.
It's coming. It's coming. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And the young man that was sitting here while I was taking a break, his name is Ramon Grimaldi. And I've known him for how many years?
Oh God, I don't want to admit.
I'm trying to be nice to you. No, but Ramon and I are like brothers. You know, I mean, we fight all the time. You ought to hear some of the conversations. But anyway, I truly love him like he's my own brother. And his mom has adopted me. She said, I got 2 sons now. I said, yeah. She says, I got a genius and I got a knucklehead. So I said, which one am I? She said, you're the genius. So Mom, if you're watching, baby, we love you. And I'll be talking to you tomorrow, hopefully. And I just want to leave you all with this thought. It's not about the pigmentation of your skin or the color of your eyes. It's not about your traditions or your culture. It is not about the clothes that you wear or the food that you eat. Do you really want to know what it's all about? And I have to tell you, like my grandpa used to do, he would look at us, put his hand over his heart. He would always say, it's how you treat my heart. That's what it's all about. So until next week, I will leave you with the Cherokee words, Danada, Goai, Wado. We'll talk to you next week. Same time, 7 o'clock East Coast time, right here on Winter Nightwolf Live on YouTube. Like us on YouTube and become a part of this family. It's a growing family. Talk to you next week.